welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147. It is whip and waffle time, or whip and chat time if you don't understand the word waffle. But it is time for me to work on a current painting. So if anybody watched my kitting up video from Tuesday, you will understand the drama. The drama llama. Oh, I missed a whole section of white. Okay, that's kind of annoying. That'll be my own fault for not paying attention to where I was up to. But anyway, if anybody watched my drama llama from Tuesday, you will know that I ended up kitting up two 30 by 40 paintings when I did that kitting up. This fox being one of them. It does have a whole lot of white and a whole lot of multi-placing did take place, but I thought I had finished all the white. I did it over the last couple of nights. I actually finished the swan in 2 days, which is quite surprising. Or it surprised me that I managed to finish it so quick. But I did finish it within 2 days. And then I thought I will get all the white done and I will then do the whip and waffle doing the other colours. But obviously I've missed a section. I was covering it as I went. So I was covering things up as I went along. And I thought we'll just start doing the fox and see how far I get, how far along I can get until I get through all the whip and waffle comments that I have at this time. So it may end up being a longer whip and waffle, but I thought we're about due for one of them. Now I am filming this on a Friday afternoon. Catherine is currently back from uni, so she's having snuggles with Luna while reading a book. I think she's devouring a book at the moment. So I thought, well, let's, just see how far we go. Looking at the size of him and the confetti within him, within the fox, I've got a feeling I'll get through the comments first, but who knows, because I can waffle. But my plan, we'll see how much time I get this Friday afternoon. I may have to take a pause in the whip and waffle my time, because I will need to, I've packed all orders, but I do need to go and check if there is any more orders and get things all bundled up in the mail sacks for the postie for him to come later on this afternoon. So yeah, I may take a pause, but I thought let's go for a longer one. For some reason the diamonds were wanting to stick to my glue dot more than they were wanting to stick to the canvas. But yeah, we will see how we go with Mr. Fox. I may decide, well, my thought is that I will do this whip and waffle however long it takes. And then this evening, which will be, of course, Friday evening for me, I will finish him off. So I will get him completely done. I did have scheduled to de-kit my Paint Gem mini set doors this week because that painting needed de-kitting, but I've shuffled things about. Because I've done a couple of very quick paintings recently, which is great for de-kittings and getting to kit up again. I've actually left sort of a week between each one and done a whip and waffle on a Paint Gem. But I feel like I've done a few of those, so I want to do a whip and waffle on my next painting. So I've had a reshuffle. I am going to de-kit Swan this week, this upcoming week. I'm going to de-kit Swan and I'm going to kit up my next painting, and then I'll de-kit Fox the week after. I do normally prefer to de-kit before kitting up. That's my preferred way of doing it. But, you know, we got thrown for a loop this last week with the decision wheel. And yeah, I want to keep the whip and waffles, different paintings, bit of variety, all that sort of jazz. So we're going to de-kit and kit up another painting. And we'll just do it that way instead. And then next week for the Sunday whip and waffle, I will work on whatever painting I kit up, because I've not kitted up yet. I did multi-place. I have been a dab hand at multi-placing, both for the Swan, which is finished, and you will be able to see that on tomorrow's de-kitting video. Both the Swan and all the white for the Fox, I did multi-place. All of that. I don't think it would have been anywhere near enjoyable doing all the white if I didn't multi-place. I used one of our mega trays for doing the white background. I did try at one point putting in pretty much a full tub of diamonds, a full pot of diamonds, but I felt it was a little bit too much for them to line up nicely. I ended up sticking to between a third and a half of a pot of diamonds in the mega tray, to then, you know, kit up, diamond paint with those before I refilled it. I didn't go through the process of emptying all the diamonds from my tray before I put any more in, because it was just pretty much pure multi-placing. There's the odd little part here where I had to single place, but for the whole, I multi-placed it all. I did then, of course, put my cover paper back on to sort of keep it protected, and when I did some more last night, when I thought I'd finished the white last night, I'd seen I'd done this bit, so I moved over to this bit and did this side, not realising that I hadn't finished this side of our little guy. So depending on how long it takes, will depend on how far I get. But I do plan on finishing him before I kit up my next one. But I am going to kit up my next one probably a little bit quicker than I normally would. And we'll see how it goes. And I will be using the same decision wheels again for picking what painting I'm doing. So we'll see if we end up with any more drama. I don't have any other paintings already kitted up, so that is not an option. To have a pre-kitted up painting is not an option. Of these two 30 by 40s that I've done one in round and one in square. So I really don't mind which style of diamond it picks, the decision wheel. I think I'd kind of like it to pick a big one, but if it picks a small one, I'm just going to class that as sort of another little win, should we say. A bit of an achievement to be able to get through or get another painting completed. I do tend to add to my big ones more than my small ones, which is why I'm kind of hoping it'll pick a big one. but they're all paintings that I want to do. So if it picks a small one, I'm guessing we will continue with de-kitting and kitting up. I forget how quick I can get a small one done, especially if there's multi-placing involved. So the likes of the Swan, there was a lot of multi-placing I could do on that one. Primarily two colours, the background colour and the body of the Swan, but those two colours helped the painting to come together really quickly. I did a small half on the first day and then decided to just go for it and see how much of sort of all the rest of the background and stuff I could get done on the second day, and ended up probably being up a little bit later than I should have done, but I did get it finished, so it'll be nice to get that back in the storage from that one back into my options for storage in the upcoming weeks. That's really annoying me because I was so sure that it had been done and that I'd finished it all. When I finished up, or when I thought I had finished up the white last night, I actually did a couple of Paint Gem minis after that, so I had time to finish it completely. I do still have plenty of diamonds. I've only skimmed off a little bit of the final pot of diamonds, so I do still have a load of diamonds to finish it. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that in a bit. It's nice to change up colours though, even if I am on a very pale colour to start with, trying to make sure I don't miss any, but these all seem to be the colours that are lining up against the white to add that little bit of shading. So anyway, let's get to comments, questions, all the rest of it from the last few weeks WIP and Waffles, because I think I've done Paint Gem minis for the past 2 WIP and Waffles, due to the timing, making sure I was kitting things down in order. I have done a couple of Paint Gem minis, the doors and then the butterfly, which is another reason I feel like I'm going to push my next kitting up into this week so that we can keep a variety in the mix. All Things Crafty by Kaz, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she hopes all is well with me. It is, thank you. Had some very exciting deliveries this week, very exciting ones due next week. So all in all, it's been a good fun week over here. And I've got quite a bit of diamond painting in, which is always another plus. To get diamond painting time in an evening, as well as fun things happening throughout the day. She says she loves hearing me talk about my decision wheel. She said she uses her decision wheel when she can't make a decision as to her next project. She said she has done a thing. So she went to Hobbycraft just to browse, mind you. Bad idea. It's like IKEA, you can't just browse. She said, and came away with a Diamond Dots diamond painting, a storage tray, which came as a pack of 3, and for a cover release paper. She also came away with a box for her mega tray, a pair of scissors, Diamond Dot sealer, and 2 small bins. See? Browsing is dangerous, very dangerous. I've just got a little bit of my glue dot showing up on that diamond. I'll rub more of it off when I've got more diamonds in around it. See, browsing is dangerous. Browsing is worse, I think, sometimes than going in for something specific. because quite often if you go in for something specific, you will go in, grab it. Something else may catch your eye, but you're not as likely to see as much as if you go for a browse. Rookie mistake, but enjoy your goodies, that's for sure. ARI Days says, hi Rebecca. She says, use your decision wheel proudly. She said, it's fun to watch which painting is going to be next. She said, anyways, she's watched my videos since December 2020. She says she would guess that she is my biggest fan in Siberia. Quite probably are. I will give you that title unless somebody disputes it, and then we will see. But you can have that title. She says she hopes I'm having a good day. Yes, I am. Thank you. Trying to be a little ahead of the time productive, because I knew I wanted to do a longer whip and waffle today, and get through. I say get through, sounds a bit harsh, because it's not meant that way, to go through comments and sort of get caught up a little bit more so that I'm on the more current ones. Though we're not too far behind. We're only a week or two behind on comments, and they're not time sensitive. We chat about all sorts. I don't think there's much that is time sensitive comments wise. But yeah, it's nice to have that clear YouTube comments list. At least every now and then it makes me feel even more accomplished. Darcy, she says, so far her Coodials hasn't arrived, and she's watching this on March the 3rd. She says, have a great week. Jackie does say hers either, and hers was ordered the beginning of Feb. I will add to that, mine hasn't either. It is something I do need to sort of chase. I don't know if anybody else has chased it yet. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but normally I would have the unboxings by now. I've been pushing back the unboxings for weeks, and yeah, they're just not here. So I'm unfortunately, I have no idea what is going on there, but I will try and remember to email them and see if I get any sort of response. I did get a response that they were on the spring break, but I haven't had any emails since. And to be honest, a lot of it has slipped my mind because I've been so busy with other stuff coming in. It's the comments and things that remind me, and then my YouTube schedule when I go to do it, it's like, oh yeah, I need to email. So yeah, I'll try and get that done. See if I can get some sort of answer. Let's get rid of that rogue diamond, and I am going to tip some more in. I'm going for a bit of a different style, and I do this often when I'm working on a painting where it's got a huge background. I do work slightly differently. I often will, especially the 30 by 40s, I don't tend to do this on like really big paintings with a big background, but one like this is perfect to diamond paint just a little bit differently. And what I do is I just do by colour. So rather than going section by section, I'm treating the fox as a section, and I'm just going for the full colour block. So I'm going for all of the letter F to the point that I want it finished, and then I will go to the next letter. It just takes out the tipping in and out of the tray. It doesn't work for everybody, and the main reason I can get away with doing this as well is I know that I am doing one a long whip and waffle, which will give me a good hour, 2, maybe. I have no idea how long it's going to be, but it will give me a really good chunk of time to do some. I also then know that I plan to continue after the whip and waffle. Got another one that doesn't like, it's sticky enough to hold the diamond, it just, my glue dot's just a little bit stickier. Yeah, I also know I'm going to be able to have time later on today or this evening to continue with it. Also, it's a Friday, which means, you know, if I'm up later, oh well, I can survive with being up later if I'm very close to finishing. Also, I do have the table in my craft room. So you will have seen when I prop this up on my easel, some of my cover paper sheets did move away a bit because they weren't gripping enough of the flat parts, especially around some of these little white bits that I'd done. But it was stored flat. So in effect, I can just place cover paper sheets over the top of sections and leave it flat on my desk that's out the way. It's not the dining room table. It's not going to have somebody else in the house come in and put something down and it causes the cover paper to shift and it picks something else up. I'm not going to have that sort of thing going on when it comes to the diamond painting itself. So I'm quite safe doing that, knowing that it won't take me that long to finish it once all the background has been done. Busy Lizzie, she said she'd like to clarify what AI is, which is artificial intelligence. She says machine or software compatible. So the person that had commented saying don't let AI take over your life, she meant your phone, the software of your phone. Like, I get what you mean in relation to that, but also it's not something that uses, the app on my phone is not something that uses intelligence to come up with an answer. It's artificial, yes. Is it software? Yes. Is it a benign object? Yes. Does it use intelligence? No. It uses a code to randomly come up with something, same way as if I'd listed all my diamond paintings on a piece of paper and put them in a jar and dip them out, so it would be random. Artificial intelligence, I think, has a bit more behind it than that app does on my phone, which is where the confusion of letting artificial intelligence take over when I don't use any AI apps. Whether the software person did to generate the app, maybe they did use it to help them, but it doesn't use intelligence to pick what one I'm going to do. And yeah, I could quite easily just put them into a jar on a piece of paper to get the same effect. I've just gone for the tidiness and convenience. So that's where my confusion over artificial intelligence came in, because it's not using intelligence to come up with which painting I'm doing. She says she loves my videos and she can't wait until I get round to Still Waiting by Diamond Art Club. Yes, that is a gorgeous one. There are so many that when I look through my stash, I'm like, oh, that one would be fun to do. Oh, that one would be fun to do. And it's not that, you know, I don't like the others, but, you know, there's different reasons why different ones would be fun to have been picked. and still waitings on that list, along with probably 50 others. She says she's never used or heard of the phrase a lick and a promise. She says, and she lives in the UK, she says Scotland. She says, so if it's from the UK, she says it would be more of an England phrase than anything else. Maybe. The Google did say the UK. It may be parts of the UK, so it could be that some areas in Scotland use it and some areas in England use it, and some don't. Yeah, I really don't know exactly where it sort of, what areas it originated from, whether it's something I've picked up from down south or up north or both. I don't know, but I like it. It's fun. It's fun. Teresa, she says to take a picture of your diamond painting, she says, when finished. She says you can use an over the door hanger, usually a front door, she says, while inside, and then you have good indirect light. That's a good shout, to sort of hang it up on a hanger. That isn't something that I thought of, but that is a good idea. I do actually have a few sort of trouser hangers as well that I could clip onto the diamond paintings, a bit like how I store them before I do them. I actually have a few of those that are spare, that are sort of floating around in my craft room, not really doing anything, apart from hanging up on the wall, from when we used to have, well, Megan had a lot more sort of 30 by 40s, but the amount of time she gets to diamond paint, she's whittled her stash down quite a bit to just her few firm favourites, because she just doesn't get to diamond paint very much at all. In fact, I can't even remember the last time she did. So it's definitely been a while. But yeah, we have quite a few. So that is a very good idea. I'm just so used to putting them on the floor. I normally just take them into the office now and put them on the floor in there, or sometimes on the floor in the conservatory. Or I'll put them on the table in the office, pull the blinds down just a little bit to let some sun in, but not directly onto the table, and then stand on a chair to take it. Teresa, she says, she also says to say in America is you're only getting a spit shine today. I like that. She says the saying comes from the military when they didn't have time to do a proper cleaning of their military shoes. So they just spit on them and rubbed them to a shine. I like that. That makes sense to me. You're getting a spit shine. Like, yeah. Like when you'd clean chocolate maybe off the side of your cheek if you're out and about and somebody tells you you've got chocolate on the side of your cheek. Sort of deal with that, a bit of a spit shine. You can have a proper clean later, but you can look better now. More like how you're supposed to now. Lady Dax, she says, oh wow, she says, another big smile from P Jelly. She says, and yes, she blamed me, Rebecca, for the paint gem orders that we placed. She says, but we love you anyways. More than happy to accept any blame anybody would like to put on me for any purchases that they may make. You can blame me. I'll not be covering your bill, but you can blame me. More than happy with that, because people do it to me often enough, that's for sure. I still get tagged in a lot of paintings. Luckily, while a few have made it to a sort of a wish list, none have yet made it with the I have to have it now. My only fear is when I do hit the I have to have it now, I'm going to have quite a few choices to add to my basket to make shipping worthwhile, because I now have quite a few in my wish list that may, you know, need to make the journey across the pond with a friend, because who wants to travel alone? Teresa's suggestion, she says you could make a master checklist of things you want to say or check before starting an unboxing on a diamond painting. Yeah, I could. I probably should. I do feel like I do feel like sometimes then my unboxings may be a bit too regimented, but it probably wouldn't be a bad thing, or even to have some sort of little checklist where I could note paintings that I've unboxed and kept in my stash throughout the month, and pop down details for them to save me struggling when I do my logbook. And while I am a very organised person and enjoy being organised, I don't quite know if I need it enough to spend the time doing it, though it will definitely float around in my head for a while now, so it may come in the future, as to whether I remember or decide that I need to, you know, make some sort of checklist or notes list or something to write stuff down for unboxings. I'm very much a turn on the camera and let's go, which is kind of what I did with this painting. Otherwise I would have realised I didn't actually finish all the whites, and I maybe would have done something about that before I started the video and put off filming the beginning of the WIP and Waffle to get everything else done. Right, I do still have some of the F diamonds left in there, and then I have a couple on here. So I'm just doing a quick check to see if I've missed any. I don't think I have, but that doesn't mean I won't find them as I go on to my next colour. But hey, that's what the lid is for tipping a few out. And yeah, going from there. Right, we're going on to the letter D. I'm working again with what's the most at the bottom, and I'm using my clip just to hold it just at the top. You can see that just on one side, just to lift it up a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to diamond paint and easier for you to see. And then when I get further up, I can move about after that. But it's kind of nice getting in all these little edges, fill in my fox as I go along. This bit's quite nice, even though I was meant to have done the white. It's actually quite nice filling in just that outer line now. The outer line of colours is completely done. I don't like coming in from the left though. I'm not as keen when I need to put diamonds in from the left. I feel like I can't nudge them over enough. It gets better when I put whatever one ends up being in the middle, but I definitely much prefer coming in from the right with colours. It's a lot easier for me personally. Sometimes I do turn the painting around for that, especially if I'm working on big sections. So on this one you'll see I've got part of a row here. That was actually the row I was completing, and then because I was finishing up for the first evening, I decided to use the diamonds that I had in my tray to give me my little straight edges, and then the idea was I was going to pick up there the next night, but of course that didn't happen. Deb, she says, hi Rebecca. She says in her opinion, she says she very much enjoys listening to me discuss my decision wheel. She said she thinks it makes it more fun when you use it to decide my next project. Thank you. I quite enjoy the decision wheel. She says her mum would always say a lick and a promise when she would vacuum when she was a child. And she remembers asking her what that meant. And she said, a quick lick through today and a promise to do a better job next time. Yes, but a lick and a promise can happen more than once before that better job actually happens. She said she thought it was quite funny. She says, have an amazing week. She says, thanks for another great whip and waffle. Yeah, it's definitely, a lick and a promise can be so helpful, especially when you're busy. Because I know I'm definitely a culprit of this. Like, I will be like, okay, I want to clean the bathroom. I want to give it a good clean, you know, feel like it's all done, you know, and whatever else. But it might be a really, really busy week. And the amount of times you're like, oh, haven't got time today, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow, you know. And especially with young kids, that can happen, you know, and it can end up being a few days. And every time you go to use the bathroom, you're like, oh, yeah, I need to do this, you know. And it's like, it just becomes a nag. It's an inanimate object. It's a bathroom, but it becomes a nag. Because, you know, every time you go to the toilet, you think, oh, yeah, need to do this. Oh, yeah, need to do this. Whereas if you just say, do you know what, 10 minutes, lick and a promise, boom, you know, and you just give it that once over, which, yeah, if you have the time and do it every day, then your bathroom will probably look immaculate all the time and never need more. But when you're a busy mum with a house full, then, you know, if you take that and say, right, timer, 10 minutes, it's getting a lick and a promise, 5 minutes even, you know, it's getting a wipe down. That's what it's getting. And you actually do that, then it can actually last, you know, a few more days. It doesn't give you the guilt the same. You don't walk in to use the bathroom and go, oh, I really need to do this. You go, oh, okay, it's, you know, it just doesn't nag at you the same way. So yeah, it's loads. It has so much more power than you realise, the lick and a promise. And it can keep you going, and it can keep the mum guilt down. It can keep, you know, the house just that little bit more functioning, you know. Just the picking up the toys and running a hoover round can just be, you know, you're not doing the full dust, you're not wiping down here, there and everywhere. You're just giving it a quick once over, and it can just bring you peace. So it's an amazing thing to do. And whatever you call it, other people probably call it something different, but whatever you call it, I highly recommend it. It is a, you know, something that is well worth doing just to keep you functioning. And you will get around to that, you know, what you feel is that better clean, but at least it's functionable in between. And you save yourself that bit of time, and you save yourself that guilt. So it's always good in that for that reason. Right, just trying to check I've not missed any sort of below his nose before I start full on going above. Seems to be the lighter colours at the moment. What you can do as well, if you like to change things up, is you might decide to do this in number order or symbol order. I've done that before. I've gone, right, okay, what's the next symbol? And I've started, so in this case I'd start with the number 1 and do all the number 1s and then the 2s. Oh, and move on that way and drop my pen and knock all my diamonds on my easel. At least my diamonds have all got caught. I've only got one left. I don't know if you can see it there. It's caught on the bottom of my easel. I think this glue dot's getting rather sticky. Eliza, she says, so well designed, and that's on the Paint Gem mini doors. It's amazing how much they can fit into, in effect, such a small space. I think that's the reason I admire and love the Paint Gem minis as well. Just what they can get portrayed across in the small little dots is fantastic. Jerry, she says she's found that when she is taking a picture of her diamond painting, like when she's taking one to post online, after she snaps the picture on her phone or her tablet, she automatically views the photo and then edits or crops out what she doesn't want seen. She says then she is able to crop out her feet out of the picture without having to worry about it. Many of my pictures, especially my big ones, will originally have my feet on them that are too cropped out. I do tend to do my major cropping. Sometimes I do it on my phone. I do tend to do it after I've sort of taken my batch of pictures. But yeah, doing it straight away means you are less likely to leave any feet culprits in there. But yeah, you'll forever catch my feet with my Birkenstocks and my socks, because it's too cold not to wear socks in the UK at the moment. So Birkenstocks and socks it is, because I absolutely love my Birkenstocks, and they are like my house slippers. They are my go-to shoes every day. Tiffany, she says, hey Rebecca, she says, just a thought. She says, when you do launch videos, she says, is there any chance that you could put the prices of the new items, ones that aren't already available, she says, in the video? I could, however, there's a couple of reasons that I don't. One is the amount of extra time that takes for editing a video, which is only really a small thing, to be fair. I try to make the editing of my videos as sort of streamlined as possible. It's what allows me to get more videos out a week. If I went as gung-ho as would probably be advisable on editing my videos, I wouldn't get anywhere near as many out in a week. And I don't know how much of a difference it would make. So the small reason is that. The bigger reason is, well, you're not going to go to the website then if everything's in the video. So, you know, by the prices being on the website, it means you do go look and see all the things together that we've got. You may then sign up to the wait list. You can also see, you know, the estimated conversion in your own currency and all that sort of stuff. Whereas if I started putting that in the listing or saying it on the video itself, I would then have people asking me to give it me in a different currency, and it would open up, in effect, that can of worms. So, but yeah, the main reason is it's to get you to go to the website. Is the main reason why. And sometimes we are able to, depending on the popularity of a product, sometimes we are able to potentially lower prices on some things. if we're able to get a good deal with a supplier in the future. So this is more of a stock thing, a stock item thing. But if we do have some things where we've been able to get a better price on things because it's been popular, because we've bought more, and therefore we lower the price on the website. We also have some things that have gone up with inflation over time, and we've had to increase the price on the website by a small amount. We always try and keep any price increases that we need to do to a small amount, and we try to do them as and when it sort of crops up and it's potentially required, because, let's say, a supplier has increased their prices, for example. So we're not doing them all at once, and we're not going, oh, by the way, when you buy from us now, your prices are higher by X amount across the board. We try to do them as and when it affects us, so that any price increases we may have to do aren't hitting you all at once. Whereas if I then say prices in videos or have prices underneath in videos for items, then I would potentially have to go and edit them all to adjust to the new price. Or if I've said the price, I would then end up with the questions, why is this price change? Your video says this. It's just... There's a lot of different reasons that it's a lot easier to just go to the website for the current price of something, as well as the fact of then you are on our website and go browse, hopefully. But yeah, that's why we don't. Diamonds and Dobermans, I love the name. She says, that door, she said, it's stunning. She says, that does it. Those minis are going right in my cart. They are adorable. Like, I unbox every Paint Gem mini set that I get. Of course, on video, show you guys what they're like, and so that you can see the images. And while you can see the images on those videos and you can see the images on Paint Gem's website, you just see completely different, I suppose, levels of things or more detail in things when you're actually doing them. Or in turn, if you're watching somebody do them and you see a picture maybe or a video, in this instance of one being completed, it does put a very different sort of spin on them, I suppose. You get to view them in a different light. There are many a painting that I have passed up from, seeing the original image or maybe even seeing the rendering. I've sort of passed on it. Artist Room by Diamond Art Club is one of the ones that sort of enters my head. Supernova, I think, as well, by Dreamer Designs, wasn't particularly one that caught my eye. But once I'd seen it that somebody had completed, it was like, I need that painting. So yeah, it gives an extra level of enjoyment to actually doing it, I suppose, as well, which is always good. You get to see it in a different light and enjoy it in a different way. Right, I think I've got all the D's. I have spotted an F that I've missed. I've also spotted one of the whites on its own that has been missed. Up here in the ears. So let's do the letter F first. Just the one up there. I think it was just the one. That's what I've seen for now. I tipped them into the lid and then I hadn't tipped them out of the lid properly before I decided to try and put the lid on. Rookie mistake. And then I actually have the letter N, which is a white tucked in there. we're still ignoring this big block that I haven't done. But I'm now going to move on to the number 7. And do I want to start from the top? Yeah, let's start from the top while the painting's here. I actually have quite a lot of this looking at sort of the painting. We're definitely moving further into the painting in places where we add in a little bit more definition. And I know these ones that I'm not placing fully straight will straighten up when the others go in. These squares in this painting do look small, but they're not. It's like they actually taper off a little bit more. It's like they have the diamond curve, but then they go down, you know, a bit like a cliff face, goes straight down to the bottom. So the base of them are actually the perfect size for these squares, which is why my background has gone really, really well. But they do look like they might be small, and they're not. They're just slightly deceiving, just the way that they're made. And it's possibly because they're acrylic rather than like resin, the higher resin diamonds. But they look good. Diamonds and Dobermans also says, she says, lick and a promise is one of her pet sayings when it comes to housework around here. She says she's been saying it for decades. And it's been working for decades, so you carry on. It's a way of life, I tell you. Just pick up the phrase and run with it. You'll feel better for it. Kim, she says, well, she puts all of her square paintings into a decision wheel. Actually, she said she left out her Christmas and her winter theme ones. That is the only thing that gets me with it picking, if my decision wheel picks my newest painting. Because my most latest purchase of a big painting, or of any that are in my stash, apart from Paint Gem, which don't count in this equation because they have their little own sideline going, is that Christmas is my other big painting. And I kind of feel like I might take that out of my decision wheel for the next time. Because doing the newest painting, doing the Christmas painting, isn't quite the same when it's not nearly Christmas. I think I'll still leave it in with my squares, so there is still a chance it would get picked. But I think I'm going to take out newest in my stash, so there's not in effect 2 chances that it could get picked. I'm left with just 1. Anyway, sideline. She said she spun the wheel. She says, yippee. She said it stopped on a painting that she is very happy to work on. It's called Spring Birdhouse, she says, by Diamond Art Club. She kitted that baby up and started placing diamonds ASAP. It does give a different level of enjoyment when that sort of happens, especially when you've got so many, you know, so many paintings, so many different reasons for doing different ones first. You know, if it's not already jumped out at you and you've decided to kit it up straight away, then, you know, there are just so many other factors that go into why a certain painting is good to do. So it's nice when the decision wheel takes that away from you. You know, that oh, but this one would be good for this and this one would be good for this. And it makes a decision, but it's also a decision that you're like, yes, I'm happy with that. So she kits it up, started placing diamonds ASAP. She said it is a biggie. She says, but that's fine with me. She says, just keep on sharing your decision wheel outcomes too. She says, all parts of your waffle are fun. She says, decision wheel included. Thank you. A lot of it is, I just like to talk through my thoughts and my reasons for doing certain things. Because I am one of those people that if somebody turns around to me and says, oh, you need to do this, and then I'd be like, well, why? Why do I need to do what you're saying? Like, you've had a thought process to get there, to get to doing what you're doing. So share that with me. Why should only you have that information? So I like to share my thought process on, you know, all things diamond painting and anything else that sort of crops up, because then you can either go, well, actually, I get your thought process, but I don't agree with it. That's why you saying do this doesn't work for me. Fair enough. Or you can go, oh, actually, I didn't think about that. Oh, that would work for me. Or actually, now you've thought about that, this would work for me. So yeah, I like to discuss them in a whip and waffle, because we're waffling and chatting about all sorts. So even my decision to take Newest out of my decision wheel for my next kitting up, there's a reason for that. I absolutely adore that painting. Absolutely adore it. But it's a Christmas painting. And it's March. And as early as people may start shopping for Christmas, and I say go for it, go for what works for you, I'm not kind of feeling in the Christmas mood. I want spring. That's what I want. Not so much a spring diamond painting. I just want spring weather. I want that feeling. I'm not ready for the cozy up with blankets and enjoy the dark nights and Christmas and all that. I'm not at that stage. I need a nice spring and a hot summer and all the rest of it in between before I'm ready for that. So yeah, I think I'm going to take that out of it for that reason, because that's a painting that could give me so much enjoyment at a different time of year, so much more enjoyment if it was picked October, November, like around Christmas, even possibly September, because my brain used to go to Christmas when the kids went back to school in September. Again, depends how hot it is, but you know, at a push it could do it then. But March, I'm not really feeling it the same. Watch my decision wheel, pick it anyway. Maybe I should have a way of, I need to see, I know you can put weight behind choices in your decision wheel, so you can have it that, you know, it's got a bit more of chance of picking one option over another. I need to see if maybe I decrease the weight for Christmas and then put it back to being the same as all the others in September. Maybe. We'll see. Wendy, she says, Rebecca, she says she just wanted to thank me for my wonderful videos. Well, thank you for being here. She says she's picked up so many techniques from my discussions. She says the latest is the decision wheel. She says, like you, she says she loves all of her kits and she wants to do all of them. Yeah. Do you want to do all of them now, like me? I want to have them all be my current painting, which is half of my problem. I want them all to be my current painting. And they can't all be my current painting at the same time, because then I would never get any done. But I want that. She says, and when it came to figuring out which one to do next, she says was very difficult. And she was always thinking that she should have chose a different one. I don't know if this is a woman thing, if it's a me thing or a me and Wendy thing, or not, but second guessing your decisions can happen so often, and it is something that you know, why should we be second guessing our decision? It's a hobby. It's done for fun. You know, there is all of that, and it's all true. But that doesn't stop your brain working the way your brain works, and questioning and all the rest of it, and making you wonder, and oh, should I? Oh, shouldn't I? You know, I still even think, oh, should I have just kitted up Kookaburra because that's the one I preferred to have done, even though Fox was my oldest one. Should I? Shouldn't I? You know, and that's why I put it in the decision wheel. Because then I'm not second guessing my decision. I'd be second guessing an app on my phone. And you just don't beat up an app on your phone the same way you beat yourself up over a decision. Because it doesn't give two hoots. She said she decided to give the decision wheel a go, and she absolutely loves it. She says when the wheel makes a decision on the new kit up, she says she's always excited by the choice. And on a daily basis, she says she has an app to tell her which WIP to work on. I did that for a while as well last year, and I loved it. I loved having, in effect, multiple paintings kitted up and the app telling me which one I would work on that evening. I say telling me. Picking which one I'd work on. I still always had, of course, a veto, but I was happy to go along with whichever one it picked. Unless there was some underlying reason why that decision, in effect, didn't work. And that's why I don't call the app intelligent, because otherwise it would have known the reason I couldn't do that. Couldn't do that particular painting on that particular evening, whether it just be the amount of time I had or the fact that it had picked it the last 3 nights on the run. It didn't have that level. But yeah, I loved it when I did that, when I had, say, multiple WIPs, and let the app decide which one. It was like a fun little game every evening. There's some D's I've missed. Yeah, it was a fun game every evening. What's the app going to decide? What's it going to pick for me to do? And it just added a different little level of enjoyment. And while I was doing that, it worked perfect. It was only when it then came up to White Christmas pushing in front of the queue, you know, that was my new purchase, me vetoing in effect and going, no, I'm working on this one. It was when working on that one to get it ready for December, and the time crunch sort of made me go, no, I'm just working on this. And then it rolled into December Advent, which of course I was doing that, and I was doing the Diamond Art Studio Advent on other times and didn't have loads of time to do the other paintings that were kitted up. That's when it stopped working for me. And that's just something that was just the period of life that I was in, the time of the year that I was in. So if I do get the urge to do that again and kit up multiples, I am just going to think about what time of year it is. And therefore, if I do kit up a few at once, you know, maybe in July, say, and I go, right, I'm going to kit up a few, I'm going to sort of make sure that when it gets near to October, November, that I stop adding to my wheel. And if one gets finished, then it gets finished and I just have less to choose from. Knowing that December will hit and I won't have as much time and all the rest of it that comes with the joys of December. But that was a little bit of a learning curve. And yeah, I'm just going back to the other way now because it's just a little bit different for a while. Diamond painting with the Edwards. She says she tells her hubby to give their camper a little bit of a lick and a promise. She says, as you can imagine, she said you can never get a deep clean until the end of the season. She says, we've said that in my family for years. She says, we always use the UK meaning. It's amazing how things do travel sort of across the pond or to different areas, and it just gets picked up as a phrase that the family says. And then, of course, other halves and stuff get dragged into it as well. It's always fun. Claire, she says she would love to do some of the paint gems. She says, but she does find the cost prohibitive. Yeah, it is one of those. It can be the same with other large paintings. You know, the cost is what can turn people in effect off. I think they're fairly reasonable myself for being a high quality one, albeit they're small ones, they're multiple small ones. So you do get quite a good few hours of enjoyment out of it for the amount of time you know, that you get to spend doing them. But it is one of those, it's not for everybody, and the cost isn't for everybody. So I completely get that. It's not going to work for everybody, but I absolutely adore them. Which is why I keep adding to my multiples that I still need to do. But I very much enjoy doing them. Yvette, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she loves my WIP and waffles as always. She says, just wondering, she says, since the chat has been around cover papers, she says, can you do black ones with bright neon colours? She says, a bit like Cosmic Trip, as she thinks the colours would really pop. We can look at something that maybe has a black outline and then higher pops of colour. It is something that we... Just throw my pen about. It is something that we should be able to print. But we do also have something coming up in April that may work in relation to that. It's a little bit different. But it may be something that would actually be fun for you to potentially add that little bit of pop. But that's an April thing, so enough said about that. Right, finished the letter P. I have still got loads and loads of comments to go through, but I am going to take my pause now, because I need to go and get a post ready for the postie. And then I will come back and finish this up, whether it be, I'll probably do a bit in a bit. And it may roll on till tomorrow, we'll see. But I'll fill in my letter D's. So yeah, speak to you in a bit. Hi, and I'm back. Okay, where were we? L. There we go. Letter L. I got an order come through just before I needed to sort out the post, so I needed to do that. And then I got all the post sorted, all the post ready, brought into the house, and then got an order on Etsy. So it's all fun and games. It's all about the timing. But yeah, I have sorted out the orders. So if you hear any barking soon, that will be Luna barking at the postie. It's standard practice in our house. Postie doesn't even blink. He's not bothered in the slightest. But comment from Grey Legrand. She says, hitting pause. Love that. It says, breaking news. Regarding the commenter, she said that poo-pooed the decision wheel choosing Kenny or any other kit. She says, well, let's just say each to their own. which is true. Some people may not like the decision wheel at all, and that is perfectly fine. I do not tell people that you have to like it. I tell people that I like it, because I do. She says she welcomes the decision wheel discussion. She says, because like I say, she says when you love all of your kits, she says you may need a little help in the choosing. She says when she hears about it, it leads to her thinking about how she looks at her stash and what she's going to do next. She says, for example, she says she has a lot of Diamond Art Club kits. They are the majority of her stash. However, she does want to work on her other companies too. So she is going to set up a decision wheel for her Diamond Art Club spares versus rounds, and then a wheel for which company that's not Diamond Art Club to choose, then put each company on their own wheel. That way she always has a Diamond Art Club on the go and something vastly different as a sidekick. I like that idea. I do like that idea. And this is why I like these discussions as well, because it's quite nice to have to think, okay, this is what I have in the bulk of my stash. Like, this is the main company that I have the most from, for whatever reason that may be. Whether it be your favourite now, whether it's been your favourite in the past, and it's older kits that you have more of from another company. You know, whether that's just been what you've bought as gifts, whatever else. Sometimes picking by company can be as exciting as not. So in most of my wheels for my big paintings, I have a free section, which basically means I get to pick whichever. Guilt-free decision is the way I think of it, which is what makes it, you know, because otherwise you could just say, well, why didn't I pick anyway? No, it's a guilt-free decision, which makes sense to me. Probably only me, but makes sense to me. And then I do have ones where I need to pick, or I get to pick, but from a certain company. So it's narrowed down by company, and then I pick one from them. So yeah, it's quite nice to have those sort of thrown in, and I can see how when you have the bulk from one company but you have other ones that you want to do as well, how that can really work for a decision wheel. She said it won't happen today, as it will take a while for her to get through her current Diamond Art Club, which is all shades of blue, etc. So it is 22 colours, and her sidekick is Diamond Dots Irises by Van Gogh in rounds, and it's very colourful. She says, but before she finishes either, she will get her wheels set up. So there we go. She's kind of done it, whether it was by choice or whether it was an unconscious decision, that her current two diamond paintings are two different companies and vastly different. She obviously found that she likes it. So therefore, it's continue that going by the decision wheel picking one from each. Which if I ever, you know, decide to sort of do more than one painting, that might be something that I do. I might split my decision wheel up to, I don't know, maybe. See, then you could split it up in various different ways, especially if you're doing more than one, or whether you, if you decide to do one at a time, but then you like them to be very different between one and the other. You could have a decision wheel set up maybe where you choose from your large paintings and then you choose from your small paintings. That could be your difference. But you could have a decision wheel that is bright paintings compared to not as bright paintings, or confetti paintings compared to more blocky paintings. And whether you do them sort of one of each, or whether you do them alternate, or whether you just go, do you know what, I'm in the mood for, you know, you could have paintings in multiple different wheels. So I'm in the mood for a blocky painting. Okay, all my blocky paintings are on this wheel. Let's pick which one I'm going to do. Yeah, I like the fact that it can change according to what you feel like. She also says, hitting pause again. She says she can't wait to get an olive green tray. She said she absolutely loves that colour. Yeah, I can't believe it's not a colour we've done before, to be fair. Olive green is not a colour we've done in the past. We've done some greens, but we've not done an olive green. And I've been using it on and off with some others over the past few weeks, and I'm actually really enjoying it. But I love using various different trays each time that I diamond paint. She says on her current WIP, she has 10 trays in use that are scattered across her diamond painting. No accidents yet, she says, fingers crossed. They're crossed over here too. Cross them. She said it's just easier keeping the colours on hand instead of constant tipping, etc., to change the colours, which I completely get. A lot of time diamond painting is spent tipping diamonds into a tray and out again. I did love it when I had a tray storage set up, my June Waffle, when I had that set up with my colours, and that may be something I do again in the future if it will work, because I now have my sort of drafting table in my craft room. It is something that I could potentially, if the colours will fit, I'd probably try it first if the colours would fit in one tray storage unit. I could have it so that my diamonds, you know, while they're kitted up, I have a tray for each colour, and see how it works using tray storage on my drafting table, and see if I can make that work. Or maybe it's something that I would have to have on this table that I film on, and I just stand up to switch trays, which might not be as easy to do, but it might be fun to try it. She says, hold the phone. She says she's just found another tray in her drawer from the Advent. So there we go. She now has 11 to keep her busy, keep her going with all the different ones. Absolutely love that. Josie says, hi Rebecca. She says she would be very happy. Oh, that's a round one. Don't want that one. Get off my pen. She says she'd be very happy if I could do artist room for the June Waffle. That's an option. Maybe it's because of all the discussions over decision wheels, but maybe I'll throw a few in a decision wheel closer to the time that are paintings that could be done within, you know, a reasonable amount of time, because of course I'm doing a section a day. Maybe I will throw a few into the decision wheel depending on what I have, because I reckon Kookaburra could go in that as well if it doesn't get picked in the meantime as my now known to be oldest painting. Maybe I could just put a few of my big but small paintings into a decision wheel and let that decide what I'm doing for June. That might be quite a nice way to work through my stash. I did like the idea of the kids purchasing one for the waffle, but I kind of like going through my stash a little bit for the June Waffle. I like the idea of this year concentrating on working through what I already have primarily. Say I'm not on a no-buy because if I tell myself I'm on a no-buy, I will see plenty of paintings that I want, but I am on a be careful. So yeah, maybe I'll put Artist Room in the mix with a couple of others, or maybe I'll just decide to do Artist Room. I will mull it over. I have a few months yet. Yeah, I still have a few months. Vanessa, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she's wondering where I am from. She's from Penrith in New South Wales, NSW. North South West, that doesn't make any sense. New South Wales in Australia. I was originally born in southern England. I was born in a hospital in Aylesbury, was it? Yeah, I was born in Aylesbury. Lived down south, lived Milton Keynes, Bletchley type way. Then moved to Luton. And then moved up north to Stockton-on-Tees, and then we moved to Warrington when I was about 13, and I've been here ever since. So yeah, I tend to have an accent but not have an accent in a weird sort of way, but yeah, always lived in England somewhere. Just varies between the north and the south greatly. I'm just scrolling my way through some of the comments for Thursday's WIP and Waffle. I do keep the comments separate between the 2 days. Sometimes they go off on the same sort of discussions and sometimes they go off on different ones. But do join us for that WIP and Waffle where we discuss all of those comments and whatever discussions spiral off the back of that. Like Lick and a Promise, which has spiralled off on this one. Bev says the door has turned out very pretty and sparkly. She says, which is a sentence she never thought she'd say. That a door could be pretty and sparkly. See, diamond painting makes you say all sorts of things that you may not have thought you would. It makes you do paintings of things you'd never have thought that you'd do a painting of either. I mean, I didn't necessarily think, paint gems are the sort of ideal culprit, should we say, for that. When I did the paint gem insects, I never thought I'd be doing diamond paintings of insects. I'm actually very excited. I've not yet had it picked, but I'm very excited to do the mushrooms too. Never thought I'd be excited to do mushroom paintings, but frankly, I think they are adorable. So I can't wait to do those either. Do you know what? I'm doing all the colour and there's not a huge amount in there, so I am just tipping out all the ones in the pot, because while I only have a few down here, I definitely have more up the top. And rather than sort of going all the way across, I'm just going on filling in this section here and then getting all the ones that are sort of close. And once I finish those, I'll see sort of where I'm up to. I'm guessing I'm going to end up with some of the darker colours near the end, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not as zoomed in at the moment. Just find it's easier for you to be able to keep the whole fox in. I do have quite a few paintings where I am quite zoomed in, so just a little bit different, not being quite as zoomed in, but at least you get to see the whole foxy fox come together. Mysterious Days. She says, hi Rebecca. She said after 4 separate watches, she's finally to the end of the WIP and Waffle. She says 2 rows done with her Magic Bus by Diamond Art Club, and she is loving it. She says even if the 959 of this kit is seemingly a few centimetres too small and is causing extra gapping, she says that's rather frustrating. She says she loves it when I discuss the decision wheel. She says keep it up. She says there's a lot of ways to use it and share ideas with members of the community. She says how do you decide where to add extra ABs? She says she wants to do so on her budget paintings, and she just can't find a good way to decide where they go, so she just gives up. In relation to ABs, I mean, I primarily only really add ABs to my Paint Gem Minis. So I can tell you my thought process for that, which may or may not help you with your budget paintings. Hopefully it will, but without knowing what the subject of your budget paintings are, it might be a little bit hard. So, for example, in the 2 30x40s that I kitted up in my drama kitting up earlier on in the week, I wouldn't add ABs to this fox, personally. You could, don't get me wrong, I've done Vivian Fox. It was a painting I did that had ABs in it, and you know, apart from the eyes with the 310, I was very happy with the placement, should we say, of the ABs. But I find it easier myself to think, do I think this subject is extra sparkly? And I don't think a fox is. However, I do think a swan is. And of course, the other painting I kitted up was a swan. So with the swan image, I would have been very likely, if I did think and was going to switch them to some ABs, it would have been the flowers in that swan. A bit like on the doors, primarily I've gone for the flowers around the doors. It was only like partway through doing it when I realised that I had the diamond dust diamonds that aren't quite as sparkly as the ABs but are really pretty, that I thought they would look nice in a window as like a reflection. It's partly by colour when I pick them, so it's partly I will look at, you know, the 2 or 3 colours that make up the flowers and see if I have any of those in an AB. So that could potentially make my decision. If I don't have an AB that is a similar colour, then that takes it out. But more often than not, what I'm looking for, so with the doors, when I was looking for which ones to do ABs, I was thinking flower. So I'm looking at the colours of the flowers, pinks, purples, reds. But when I'm trying to decide which one to do, I'm looking at one that has probably the nicest selection spread out through the design. So which colour is spread out so my ABs will go across, you know, all the flowers. I'm not going for, like in this swan, for example, if we go back to the swan, because we're talking bigger ones. So I'm not going necessarily for the one that there's the most of. So on this one, I'd either be going for this one in the middle that sort of gives a little scattering all the way up, or I'd be going for maybe highlighting the darker pink going all the way up, and maybe a second colour maybe this colour around the edge if I found that that was in enough places. But basically I want the symbol that goes, that gives me a little scattering in them all rather than huge blocks of colour. And that's what I tend to go for. That's what I tend to think when I'm doing it. One, do I want this extra sparkly? Do I want it extra glittery? Does that suit it? So talking of paint gems, when I do the mushrooms, I don't think I'm likely to add ABs to the mushrooms. But I did add some to the ocean, because ocean set, because I felt like that needed some. In my most recent kitting up, I did end up adding some to her story. I wasn't going to, but I did end up adding some there, but just like in the jewellery or the eyes. I didn't add it in traditional foods because I think foods with extra sparkle, I kind of think glitter. Would you add glitter on this? Food, not so much. I'm not going to add glitter to that. So I didn't add any ABs in that set. But I did on butterflies because I thought they would look pretty with it. So yeah, it's partly made up by whatever colours of ABs I may have. But then to start checking whether I do have them, I start with the colour that is sort of got a sprinkling throughout and see if I have that colour first. And if not, okay, what do I have and which one is most likely to be sprinkled? Because I think I have done a painting that was all ABs and I personally wasn't as keen on it. I felt it was too much. I have done a couple of paintings that have been all rhinestones as well, and I felt the same way about those. Some people, it's completely different. They absolutely love them. And if you love sparkle, you have sparkle. I personally don't. I like just a hint of the extra sparkle rather than too much of it. So yeah, that's sort of the thought process I go through. Would I throw glitter on this and think it suits on my fox? No. On my pretty flowers, on my swan, you know, that looks very pretty and girly, even if they can be vicious little creatures, then yes, I would add extra sparkle to my flowers or to the swan's crown, for example. But I prefer to do a scattering than a solid block. Though it did work on the butterfly last week, on my WIP and Waffle butterfly last week. A lot of ABs in that did work quite well. It's the first time I've sort of put that many ABs on one paint gem mini, but it worked. And, you know, it was a point that it was I suppose a subject, with it being a butterfly, that ABs worked on. And even though it was a lot of ABs, it was like lines of ABs rather than here, have a big solid square or rectangle block. Susan, she says she's pausing to address a rude comment. She says a comment that I read out from, I'm not going to say the name because I appreciate the support and I do want to, you know, read out the support that I'm given, but I don't want to make a thing about the name. But she said, raised her hackles a bit. She said she realised that I did ask and that you do value our input, which I do. Even if you don't agree with me, I'm more than happy with your input. She says, but the comment was just plain rude. She says you handled it beautifully as you always do. She says, but it got her a bit defensive on my behalf. Oh, bless you. She says opinions can be quite helpful, but there are certain ways that they should be stated. She said, telling me that my discussions about the decision wheel, which we all love, is exhausting, she says, was just plain rude. She says, perhaps reading over your comment and its tone before hitting send is advisable. And it is something that I think can be very, very hard with the written word, to be fair. To be fair to the person that commented on it, I do completely get where Susan's come from, and I do think in a very weird way, and possibly not the best way, the decision wheel has been discussed even more since that comment than it may have been without that comment there. Whether that's a hindsight thing or not, for the person who made the comment, maybe. But yeah, I do think the written word can be taken, what should we say, can be taken wrong. However, I do also think that there was definitely negativeness behind that comment, and even trying to read it another way, the slight bit of my opinion matters more than yours was apparent in its written form, should we say. But yeah, I do appreciate all your support on, you know, whether you do enjoy the discussion, because I do try to take on board what people say, what people enjoy watching, seeing, not seeing. And I do appreciate, you know, those as much as the people that say, just do what you want and we'll watch, because that is completely up to them. I have had another comment left on a video that was really rude, to be fair, really, really rude. It wasn't on a WIP and Waffle. It's not been read out. It's not going to be read out. I have replied to it in relation to addressing I was going to say the points they've raised, but they've not really raised points. They've just vented because they're feeling sorry for themselves, I'm guessing. But I do agree with Susan in relation to reading your comments back. If you're having a bad day or there's something you don't like, fair point, but just make sure that your comment reads that it is, in effect, your opinion. I have zero problem with anybody having a different opinion to me, and every time I discuss stuff on here that I'm going to do or that has worked for me, I very consciously make it that it's working for me and why it's working for me, that resonates with some people and doesn't resonate with others. But I try to put it across in a way that it is, this works for me, you may work different. Whereas when somebody just, I suppose the way it was written was, this is my thought and you should agree with it. And that I don't agree with. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, maybe they were just having a bad day. They definitely weren't as bad as somebody else who was quite rude and actually had a few people relying to tell her as such. But yeah, maybe we just try and move on a little bit from that one now. But I greatly appreciate everybody who has come on, said how they do like it, the reasons they do like it, and if it comes up, I will continue to discuss it. If it doesn't come up, then fair enough. I think a lot of this is, you know, we are keeping each other company while we're diamond painting. We're enjoying the diamond painting process, and if you don't want to use the decision wheel, then don't. If you think that I'm discussing the decision wheel too much, which very much has happened in this video, but I'm following what you guys are saying and commenting about. So if you want to continue watching my videos, but don't want to continue discussing the decision wheel, fair dues. Leave a nice comment down below. Ask a question. Ask something different. Make a suggestion of something that you're doing, maybe, in something completely different, something you do instead of. You know, you guys sway the discussion as much as I do. Though I do go off on tangents, but yeah, just ask questions down below. If you want to discuss something different, more than happy to. If you don't want to leave a comment down below asking a different question, sending the discussion in a different way, spurring something on, you know, and you're just sitting there grumbling about the fact that we've discussed the decision wheel a lot, then maybe you need to turn off YouTube and go do something else, and enjoy life in a different way. And I'm going to keep diamond painting. Okay, we are now on to videos from last week from the butterfly, so maybe things have changed up just a little bit. Butterfly one was actually quite a quick video, which is also why I kind of feel like I want to make sure that I kit up another painting this week, so that the WIP and Waffles can be a bit more chunky rather than me picking a Paint Gem Mini painting, which tend to be a little bit shorter in general. And I like them scattered in. I just feel like we've done a couple back to back. Now we've got Fox, but I think we need to put something else in the mix. Oh, and it was Mother's Day last week. I actually forgot. I did film my videos early for last week. Forgot to schedule Mondays. But anyway, I got it up a bit later on the Monday. But yes, it was Mother's Day last Sunday. Me and the girls went pottery painting. In fact, Caris has just come back home with them. I love sitting there painting pottery. I hate deciding what I'm going to do. And I hate the fact that I'm never prepared for then what I do then decide I want to do. So I painted a sort of pen pot type device and tried to draw the company logo diamond on it, thinking it would sit on the desk in my office, because who knows what they want to paint. I don't always know what I want to paint when I turn up. And while it looks okay, I know full well it could have looked a lot better if I'd have pre-planned what I wanted to do. Even if it was just taking some sort of template of our logo so that I could get straight lines to then colour it in with my paint. But anyway, we had fun. We had fun. My youngest is extremely talented when it comes to the painting department. And Megan actually as well. Me and Caris are both very similar. We want things to be just right and just so, and those painting places don't necessarily have the things that we need to make that happen, even if it's just things like a stencil so that we can draw what we want and then colour it in. They unfortunately don't have the things like that help me and Caris get things the way we want, but we've both turned out with something that we are happy enough with, so that's all good. So Kaz, she says, happy Mother's Day. She says, hope you've had a relaxing day and felt thoroughly spoilt. Yeah, we did have a nice day out, did a little bit of shop launch prep, and a little bit of chilling and relaxing as well. So all in all, it was a very good day. She says she's bought some more cover release sheets. Why not? There's so many gorgeous designs at the moment. There's a few that I am thinking of sort of keeping on, especially from spring, of moving into our sort of general cover paper, so it'll always be available. The most popular ones, we try to sort of move into those so that people can still get them in the future. We just can't have the stock of all of them because we've got so many more different designs we want to do as well. But there is a few that I'm thinking will move into sort of the stock levels. But yeah, some of the limited editions, March limited edition will be as available stock until the end of March, and then it will go down to whatever we have ready to go until it's gone. St. Patrick's Day will only be another day or two from this video. 1 or 2 days, depends on how busy I am next week, till I adjust the stock to what I have ready, and that will be gone. But we are very low on that one. We haven't highly stocked that one up because it's a bit of a niche area. And Easter will be probably the end of the month, because Easter is sort of the end of the month, and then Easter Monday is the 1st. So come April, they will go down to whatever we have ready, and when it's gone, it's gone. So that will move with March as well. Spring will be available for a bit longer, for quite a bit longer, until we hit sort of definitely more summer months. So spring will be available a lot longer. But we have many more design things in the pipeline. I seem to spend my life preparing cover paper at the moment, so I will get round to the other things as soon as I can, because I'm very excited about them, but days just disappear on me, well and truly. So yeah, she bought some more cover release sheets, the limited edition pen, metal tip and multi-placer. She says currently she's at her mum's celebrating Mother's Day while watching this video. Well, enjoy your goodies, that's for sure. You deserve to sort of treat yourself. Susan, she says she's just finished an owl special she got from Temu, whatever it's called, a while ago. She says she's going to be getting the butterfly set of Paint Gem minis next. She says she's just ordered Around the World 1 and 2, Autumn and Doors. They're nice sets too. I think the only one I've not kitted up yet, I think, is Autumn. I think Autumn's in my sort of currents yet to do. It's actually not picked Autumn or Summer yet. So, and I say it's not picked. That would be the wheel. Has not yet picked those ones for me, but I've got quite a few that I would love to do in that. Some that are quite a bit older, and some that are a lot newer. So if it ever picks the sort of free square again, it has picked the free square for me once before. I think I'll really struggle as to which one to pick, but I'm currently working through 3 sets, so I'm going to have when I've finished them, I'll have a monster D-kit of those, and then a monster kitting up again, because I'm actually liking having the 3. If we do plan on going away at any point, because we have been talking about potentially nipping away for a weekend, then I may kit one up in my small case to take away. But yeah, I'm doing quite well working through my smaller paintings this year so far, just not my big ones. Lady Dax, she says, happy Mother's Day to all. She says she multi-places the same as me. She says she did start with 2. She found that vertical was best. And then she went up to a 4-placer and she's happy staying with that. Yeah, quite often with a 4-placer as well, especially more so with squares. So I've found more, because the 4-placer will work with rounds and squares. But with squares, quite often, you can end up picking up 5. So you can class it as a 5/4-placer. But I find the 4-placer, I think, easier because I can quickly visualise 4 spaces, whether something is 4 spaces or more. Whereas if I went higher, I'd end up counting how many spaces to know if I could put the full thing down. Yeah, I just think I confuse myself more. It may change in the future as I get more used to it, but for now I'm quite happy with a 4. She says she's just binned a budget painting that she's had since 2021. She said she did 2 sections. Takes a bit longer than 2 seconds, that. She did 2 sections and she found that it was making her grimace more than it was making her smile. So in the bin it went. Sometimes needs must. If you're not enjoying the process, then what are you doing it for? If you're not enjoying the process of anything, I think, regardless of diamond painting or just jobs around the house, if you're not enjoying something and it's not needed to survive, because don't get me wrong, I hate cooking. If I had to do it to survive, it would get done. Would it make me enjoy it? No. But if it's not needed to make you for you to survive, or if you're not doing it to make somebody else happy, and this is a wanting to make somebody else happy, but if you're not doing it for the benefit of somebody else, or to survive, then too right. Even, when it comes to diamond painting, if you're not doing it as a gift for somebody because if you persevere through and once it's done they will thoroughly enjoy it, then if it's not a gift, then I'm all for getting rid. And there's probably a couple of paintings that I should have done it to. I'm probably just too stubborn to listen to what I've just said. She said she did think about spinning her wheel again. But in the end, she looked through her stash list, and January Garnet Lil Dragon was the one shouting at her. She said it's a diamond art club that she's also had since 2021. She's done 2 sections and she's loving it. Perfect. You've got a diamond painting that is making you smile. And I agree, like a decision wheel can help if you don't know what you want to do. If you've had a quick look through your stash list beforehand and one jumps out at you, especially after having a disappointing painting, then go for it. The problem is I have too many that jump out at me when I look at mine. Hence, I use the wheel. Cat Lady, she says happy Mother's Day. She says she's sorry she's late again. She said her son visited for Mother's Day and has only just left to catch his train home. You don't need to apologise at all. I'm all for it if you like to sit and watch the WIP and Waffle at 4 o'clock when it goes up, but do not feel like you have to, especially when your son's come home. She says she now has 2 vases of flowers, so the house is nicely perfumed. Beautiful. Hubby actually bought me some flowers one day last week, and then he's come home today with another bunch for me, saying my others are dying and I need to shift them. So he's bought me some more. So I'll be clearing out one set and putting in some fresh ones in a bit, which is really nice because I do like having them on the side. Christina, she says, wow, she says all the ABs makes it sparkle absolutely gorgeously. Yes, so last week's WIP and Waffle, I worked on the Butterfly Paint Gem Mini. There was a lot of ABs on that one. As I discussed with ABs before, it kind of worked because it was a butterfly. Another thought I have just had, another reason that I went ahead with putting that many ABs on one painting, is the fact that it was a pale colour. I will say personally, I much prefer the ABs in the pale colours than the dark ones. I just think they look nicer. So that's another reason that I've gone ahead on that butterfly, because it was a pale colour. It wasn't white, but it was a very, very pale blue, I think. And yeah, it just worked, and it was worth a try. It's a small painting. It's not like I've given it a go on one of my large paintings and then regretted it because, you know, I've spent so much time on it. I don't spend as much time on a paint gem. It gives me that little bit of a chance to, in effect, experiment a little bit and see how I like things. Sharon said happy Mother's Day, thank you. So did Rose. She also said it to all the mamas out there. Happy Mother's Day to all. Whether you celebrated the UK Mother's Day, whether yours is yet to come, or whether you're just a mama, have a happy Mama Day. To all the mamas, or mama role figures, or just have a happy day, everybody day. Have we got an everybody day as like a holiday? I feel like we should just have a everybody day. Never mind all this, it's for one type of person, it's for another type of person. Can we not just have a let's be happy day? Olivia, she says she uses tweezers to take any putty out of her pen and put it back in if the drills aren't picking up. Yeah, I will say I do constantly use tweezers in my multiplacer, which I tend to use putty in my multiplacer. And I'm constantly using tweezers in them. I do find after repeat usage it does quite often need changing, just due to the consistency and the way the consistency of it changes. I've noticed it a lot more because of course I've been vastly multiplacing on this one over the course of a couple of days. I think I changed it once per evening. So both evenings I did end up changing the putty, but I was always multiplacing with one colour for a good couple of hours. So it definitely lasts longer than wax. Putty, hands down, beats wax. But it doesn't last quite as long as a glue dot. So I think I'm going to be one of those that sticks with a glue dot in my single placer and a putty in my multi-placer for now, until you know, something else comes up and I give it a go and it may or may not. We've got to keep those options open for change, you know. You can't say that you're always going to do this and then something happens that changes your mind, or something becomes apparent that can change your mind. So for now, that's what I'm sticking with. Right, have I got any letter E's up here? Oh, I do. Cross Stitch and Tat also says Happy Mother's Day, thank you. Streaks Me, she says hello Rebecca and everyone. She says she's not sure if this question was touched on other than in general. She said, how many whips is acceptable? With a laughy face at the end. She said she wants to say one very large one maybe, and a few 30 by 40s. She keeps asking herself this just because she has so many going to finish, so she doesn't want as many going at once. She says her decision wheels are overloaded and a little overwhelming at the same time. She's on a very last row of White Christmas. Hooray! And they're ending with the shelf side of the painting. So that's the side that I started with. The hopes of having a great productive weekend and on into the week to follow. Thank you. I did have a fairly productive week. I did have one day where not a lot was happening, but apart from that, I've had a fairly productive week. Right, my next one in this bottom corner is the number 6, but I am actually going to pick up the letter B instead. It's the bulk of this here. It does scatter into the 6s, but I feel like it's the next sort of shading colour, and it's more prominent to me than the 6. So I feel if I do that one first and then do the 6, I'll be able to see where all the 6s are. So I'm going for the letter B, and I'm actually going to start up here because I've already moved the painting, and then I'm going to work my way down, and then I'll work my way back up. Okay, how many are acceptable? So 1, you make up your own rules, but these are my thoughts. A lot depends on how much time you have to diamond paint. And also a lot can happen dependent on the way your brain works. So as I sort of mentioned earlier, I absolutely loved having like 3 on the go. Middle of last year, or end half of last year, until it got to the point that I wasn't working on them. Then I felt that they became too overwhelming, a bit like a chore, which takes out the enjoyment. And I suppose that's the question that you have to ask yourself, is how many feels a chore? Also, do you enjoy the kitting up process, kitting down process? Do you like to do your kitting ups all at once, or do you actually like to spread those out? Because don't forget, with every painting that you start, quite often there is preparation for that. So even if I decided now that I wanted more than one painting on the go, I wouldn't do them all at once. So I would kit up one, start on one, add a second one next week, add another one the week after, until I got to however many I wanted. I love kitting up. I really enjoy the process of kitting up. I also really enjoy the process of starting a painting, but I also know that it, as much as I enjoy kitting up, it can start to get annoying after a while. The Paint Gem Minis do sort of, I wouldn't say the enjoyment disappears, but the enjoyment starts waning off when I get to kit 3 and I'm like, okay, are we done yet? And it's nice to do the 3 at once for something different. And that's not just a matter of something different for this channel, it's something different for me. Would I want to do that every time? No. Not with big kits, not if I end up with kits that end up, well then again, Paint Gems end up with loads of colours, but no, I wouldn't want to be juggling a load of big paintings and a load of kitting ups and stuff as well. I do quite like the idea to say if you want to have more than one of kitting up one, giving yourself a week to enjoy the new painting feeling. Does everybody else get that new painting feeling? That new painting enjoyment of figuring your way out around the painting, starting to see how the diamonds are, how the painting all comes together, all that sort of stuff. And then add in another one and enjoy the kitting up process and enjoy doing your first section of that one. And, you know, then adding it into however you decide to do your WIPs. But if you don't get a lot of time to diamond paint, then you might be like, oh, do you know what? I feel like these paintings have been going on forever. It sounds like your decision wheels are stressing you out more than how many paintings you have kitted up. So I think you need to do one of maybe a few different options of things if it's your decision wheels that are overwhelming you. And if you feel like if you have less in your decision wheel, you know, by kitting up more, then in effect you've done more. Could be potentially your way of thinking. So, you know, kit up however many you're comfortable with. But maybe it's your decision wheels or your paintings that you need to rethink. So what I mean by that is a couple of different options. Is either go through your paintings and your stash and see if there's any that you want to get rid of. You may not want to get rid of any, but if you do, if there's some that you're like, do you know what, nah, this isn't doing it for me, then get rid of it. Don't force yourself. I wouldn't say force yourself to get rid of any, unless for any financial reason you need to sell them. Don't get rid of any that you're on the fence about, because you may find that you love it. You know, you don't want to sell it and then see somebody complete it and then regret it. But any that you're not feeling the love for, maybe get them in effect gone. And then maybe if your decision wheels are overwhelming you, maybe you need to do a little bit of like a toy rotation on them. Let's call it a toy rotation. Jumped into my head. So either split them down into smaller categories and have a decision wheel that picks what category and then a decision wheel that picks what painting, or split up your painting, split up your decision wheel, so you actually have 2 decision wheels, say, for your large paintings, 2 decision wheels for your small paintings, whatever it is that gets it down to a manageable level, and then spin one of them one time and one of them another time. It depends what element of your decision wheels that are making you feel overwhelmed. But if they're what's making you feel overwhelmed, then that's what you need to fix. And kit up as many as suits you. There are people that have a lot of paintings kitted up. That's all I'm saying. You would not be the only one that has a lot of paintings kitted up. There are many that have many paintings kitted up. I know that, say, at the end of last year, trying to finish those paintings off at the beginning of this year made me want to take a break from having multiples kitted up. Though I still do have multiples, and it might be too many for other people. So I have, of course, what ended up being 2 30 by 40s this last week. I have my 192 colour painting, though I can in effect compartmentalise that in my head as being there kitted up for a different reason, a bit like my Heaven and Earth design was. That's my big project. That doesn't count as a WIP, even though it is a WIP. It's a work in progress, but it doesn't count in my work in progress. And then my Paint Gen Minis, I don't count those as my work in progress either. I count those as they will always be there. They are just my little snack size. Same with my big project. I will, for the fourth, wonder how many batteries I'm going to go through. Proper waffling today. What was I saying? Yeah, so I consider my, long-term project as I'm always going to have a long-term project. So I think of it as a long-term project, not a WIP. I think of my Paint Gen Minis as my snack size ones. They're always going to be there. How many I have kitted up may vary. The style in which I have them kitted up may vary. But I don't count them as part of my WIPs. Earlier on this week, I had 2 WIPs, which was this one and this one. I chose to work on one and then the other. I've worked on the Swan and now I'm working on the Fox, which will be finished in the next day or 2. Just in case, I've already spent a fair amount of time on this WIP and Waffle on it. But it will be my focus for the next night or 2, depending on how long it actually takes to finish up. It may be that it's finished really quickly, especially, of course, it gets quicker, or it feels like it gets quicker as the letters and numbers go down. But it could take me 2 evenings instead of 1. But to me, at the moment, this is my only WIP. In that sense of WIPs, because I got too overwhelmed when life happened and I wasn't able to do all 3 on a rotation basis. If you find that doesn't happen with you anywhere near as often, hasn't happened yet, then yeah, kit up 20 if you want. Kim, she says, you said placing ABs takes longer. She said it's a good thing, she says, since you'd have had a riot on your hands if your WIP and Waffle was too short. I do feel like it's been a lot shorter the past couple of weeks because the Paint Gen Minis do take less time. But always know that sometimes it may take a couple of weeks. It really does depend on how busy I am as well as what painting I'm working on. But I will always try and do catch-up videos if I need to. And that's what this one is. It's a monster WIP and Waffle because it's a catch-up video because the last 2 have been a bit shorter. And of course, as I say, sometimes certain questions I will waffle more than others. I can't even go, oh, I've got this many comments, it'll take me this long. Even when I started filming this video, I had no idea how long it would be. I don't even know how long it's been now. I know it's been quite a while since I started filming, but I do know that I've sent out some orders in between. And time is flying, but it's also been a fair chunk of time, so I'm enjoying myself. So I am carrying on until I get to the end of the comments. I do think trying to finish the whole of the Fox is too much, but I also don't want to leave the rest of him until next week. So I will finish, I don't want to leave him uncovered and just at the point he's at until we can finish him next week. And as much as I like finishing a painting in a WIP and Waffle, it can't always happen. So you can see him when I de-kit him. Not this upcoming week, the week after. I'm going to de-kit Swan first. Diamonds and Dobermans, she says, hi Rebecca, happy Mother's Day. She said your butterfly turned out stunning. She said today she finally purchased a Josephine wall from Diamond Painting Deutschland. She's still shaking like a leaf. So 225 colours. You can do it. You can do it. So it was in and out of her cart for 2 months, and she finally realised it was something she just had to have. She said she's so excited and in disbelief that she really truly bought it. You ordered Leo, and they know it's going to be an achievement of a lifetime when they've completed it. They just wanted to share the news. Well, congratulations. That is your mammoth project. I personally don't consider the big full-on projects as a WIP. I consider that as like my mini challenge, my, whether it be testing myself or whether it just being having something that, as you say, once you've finished it, you can say it's the achievement of a lifetime. That's what that project is. So enjoy it. You know, go gung-ho with it when you first get it. Enjoy the ride. But if it starts to feel tedious, then just tickle away at it. That's what I've learned with my Heaven and Earth design. Just do, whether you set yourself a section a week or something, just do a little bit of it each time, you know, and kit up other paintings in the meantime. And yeah, do other paintings in the meantime that will give you that satisfaction and that new painting feeling and all the rest of it. But yeah, enjoy it. And high colours is not as bad as you think. You are just working on your section, and that doesn't have all those colours in quite often. It will have a lot less. Mysterious Days says, happy Mother's Day, Rebecca. Thank you. So she ended up watching both Sunday and today's back to back, and they love the outcome of the butterfly. It said one day they really need to try Paint Gem minis. Said, are there any thoughts on releasing more multicolour trays, like maybe black and purple or black and white? Yes, we do have more plans to release multicolour trays. We have actually planned out tray colours for most of the year. So yes, there are more coming up. They are just spread out to give, you know, that bit of variety, because yeah, we need to do both, and we do a limited edition per month, so there is more coming, but they are spread out a bit. But yeah, we do try and do a few more of the likes of the stripe ones when we do them. So to ensure that we do a couple of non-striped ones in between doing the striped ones, and that's what allows us to make sure that we can get plenty printed with the printers that we've got, sort of making sure that we're keeping on top of stock, and we're printing, you know, a few more stripe trays each month while still being able to print the other months and any other surprises that we may have in the pipeline. Mops the Top says, did you miss the feeler on the right hand side? Ooh, now you're asking a question. Did I miss it on the right hand side? Hang on, it is in my book. Oh no, it is done. I don't know when you've said that in the video, but no, there is diamonds on all of the butterfly. This is the one from last week's. Not sure if the reflection, it is in a plastic wallet, but the what looks whitish is actually all ABs. It sparkles very, very nicely. Anyway, no, I did get it all. But thank you, because there is definitely times when people do shout out to me, like on logbook videos, you forgot to put that one in your logbook, or dekitting videos, don't forget this. And it's always really helpful. Jerry says she has created her decision wheel, and the only painting, she says, since she created them that she hasn't waited to do is she didn't wait for it to come up, so basically pushed in front of the queue, is City Streets in the Snow. She said she just had to kit that one up and start working on it. It's like me with White Christmas, Cosmic Trip. She says as far as her wheels, she says she has them broken down according to her storage systems. Oh, that's one I didn't think of. So she has ones that are 30 colours and under, 31 to 60 colours, and one that's over 60 colours. This way she only spins the wheel for what storage she has available at that moment, or when she's done with her current WIP and is ready to move on. I like that idea. So if you only have a couple of different storage cases, or you know, a lower amount of storage cases, I have far too many to have paintings in every single storage case. Just saying, though I do like the idea. And do you know what? If it wasn't for YouTube, I would probably be tempted to do that. Is to say, right, I am going to kit up so all of my storage cases are full. I wouldn't then necessarily work on them, so I'd have to sort of think about it differently. But if I kitted up so that all my storage cases were full, and then maybe worked on one or two at a time, but of course as soon as I've finished one, I'd have my next one ready, and that would be kind of fun. But I do like the idea of having less storage. I'd have to keep my super pretty ones. I do like the idea sometimes of having less storage and kitting up according to the storage case I want to do. It's kind of nice. I'd have to go through my logbook and figure them all out though. But no, I like that idea. Grey Legrand, she says, my goodness, she says, that was quick. It was a very quick painting, definitely. It was a busy week last week as well though. I was trying to get things done and videos done in advance to sort of take advantage of Mother's Day. And it's a good job because we were out on Saturday. We had an appointment to nip out to on Saturday afternoon. And while we got some prep for launch and stuff done beforehand, after we'd been out Saturday afternoon, it took far longer than we thought it would. So by the time we got back home, it was like tea and collapse to, you know, more relaxing things. So we did not get anywhere near as much done on the Saturday as we thought. And I'm so glad I didn't have to try and fit filming in with that weekend, because something would have had to give. And yeah, something or other would not have happened. Because yeah, time just got away from us. Blossom Shops, she says she loves the blame circle idea. So do I. Let's join in a circle. So let's just have a circle of all of us, and we all just blame the person next to us in the circle for purchasing or buying whatever painting we're buying. And it can just go around and we can just all blame somebody else until we've all been blamed once and we've all blamed somebody else. It'll be your turn next, Jackie. I'm going to blame you next. DP 2021 says beautiful butterfly, and they said, may they ask where I got the wooden easel from. My specific easel was actually bought for me by a subscriber, and Megan did buy one, which was from The Works in the UK, though I did send the link to my friend the other day, and I think they've put it on sale. Like maybe they're discontinuing it, but you can get them from Amazon. There's quite a few different options available on Amazon. The grippers on the bottom of mine are really, really good, but I don't know like what brand it is. But the grippers are really good. Megan's grippers are not as good, but she does have like a silicone type baking sheet. It's a small one that can be put down on the table and it grips the easel for her. Or you can use the likes of grip mats. You just might need a couple of them just to keep it in place, especially when you're pushing down on it with diamonds. But yeah, if you search for an A3 size, A3 wooden easel, you should find quite a few different options there to choose from, but it's an A3 size one that I use, and it's just perfect for sitting on my little table. I've actually done quite a bit of the fox and the swan diamond painting because they've been a 30 by 40. I've actually done them in the conservatory, not on my drafting table. While they will go on my drafting table, I don't find that I need to put them on my drafting table. So I've left walking in the rain there because I have done the odd night working on that as well. And it's been quite nice to sit on the couch in the conservatory and do some diamond painting as well. So I do like the idea of having a 30 by 40 on the go and big paintings. Does make me wonder if over the next couple of months, I'm not doing it yet, but I'm going to see what I end up kitting up next. But it does make me think if my next painting that I kit up this week, if it does end up being a large painting, maybe part of me will actually miss doing a small painting and therefore feel like I want to kit up a small one as well, so that I can sit in the conservatory and do it. Or I can just do my paint gems in there. So before now I have just taken my paint gems in as my small paintings. So we'll see how we go. We'll see what the decision wheel picks. Bev, she says her TV stopped working, so she ended up getting a new one. She says, and she's gone all posh with Ultra HD, get you. She says, and she watches my videos on the TV, she says, and wow. She says, the diamonds look spectacular. She says her old TV wasn't even HD. She said, so the difference is striking. She says she hopes everyone is having a lovely week. Well, you enjoy your sparkly TV. Love it. Love the fact it's as sparkly as the diamonds are. Magic Moonchild. She says, hi Rebecca. She's been catching up on 3 weeks worth of videos after her boyfriend and his parents came for a visit. Very nice. She says, as you can see, she says she's not fully caught up yet. She says she wanted to let me know that even after binging so many videos in a row, she says listening to you getting so excited about your decision wheel, she said, will never be boring. She says, never be exhausting, she said. She loves hearing the passion in my voice when I come up with new ways of doing things. She says she hopes one comment didn't bring you down. And she says, we love you for you. Thank you for every single thing you do for us, and we're eternally grateful for you. Oh, thank you. No, it didn't bring me down at all. to be fair. I do take a lot of written comments with, should we say, a pinch of salt, because there's no tone behind them. But I also don't want to ignore those ones on a Whip and Waffle as much. If ones are, there's only ever, I think, been a couple of comments, and they were years ago, that were just plain, these people needed to just get a personality transplant. They were just plain nasty. There was no, you know, potential misunderstanding or things just said a little bit harshly. They were just trolls. So there has been a couple that in the past that I've deleted. But they were, I say, years and years and years ago. But I say, it needed to be addressed, but I don't know how much of the nastiness was actually behind it, if that makes sense. So no, I'm not letting it get to me. Miss Elrini says the butterfly is beautiful and using the ABs was a good choice. Thank you. Okay, I think that is all the Whip and Waffle comments. I'm just checking because I do still have comments, of course, for walking in the rain. So I am going to leave the fox there because goodness knows how long this video is, but I can hear a lot of household movement and know that my tea is probably ready or going to be ready soon. So I have filled in a couple of gaps of diamonds that I did notice I'd missed. I'm just going to change my battery over with my other hand because it's charging. But yeah, I'm going to leave the fox there. So I will get this finished sort of off camera, but we have got a good chunk of him done. It still amazes me, considering there's 19 colours and we've been ignoring the white, so 18 colours, how many colours there actually still is to do. But I do also know that even though this is or will take me longer than I think, it will actually get quicker as I go on because I won't be hunting through colours as much. And sometimes when you get down to the last one or two, you're like, oh, that only took 10 minutes. Why is the whole thing taking me hours? But anyway, it's an achievement to have finished 2 30 by 40s within a week. I've just spotted another one that's been missed that I've already done. So let's pop that one in as well. But yeah, it's another 2 that will be able to get marked off my list, and they will get de-kitted over the next couple of weeks. So do come back to see him finished when I de-kit that one. But thank you all so much for your comments, your questions, the whole lot. Absolutely love it. So do keep leaving your comments and your questions down below, and let's get discussing what you guys want to hear. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I'll speak to you all again soon.